Welcome to Paranormal Heart, a place where people can talk about their paranormal experiences. With your host, Kat Ward.
Welcome back, folks, to Paranormal Heart Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have a great episode for you tonight. I am joined by author of the Obsidian Guardian Series, J B Coates. JB is also a paranormal investigator and has appeared on many podcasts and has hosted many paranormal events. On this episode, JB discusses some of her paranormal encounters, a near-death experience, and talks about her journey as an author. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, or have questions, comments, or just want to say hello, drop me an email at paranormalheart13@gmail.com. I'd really love to hear from you. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the show. You can find me on YouTube, Podbean, FringeRadioNetwork.com, KPNL Digital Network on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, and any place you find fine podcasts. You can also join me on Discord, where we can chat while listening to new episodes as they are released on the second and last Sunday of each month at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, on with the show. Hello, JB. Welcome to Paranormal Heart.
Hey, Kat. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy you're here. This is
I'm
exciting.
happy to be here. It's been crazy.
Yeah. We've been having a lot of fun chatting lately, and had to have you on as a guest because you have a lot of experience with the paranormal, and we'll also discuss your book later on.
Oh, yay. Yes, I have been doing the paranormal. I think I'm at 18 years now.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's been a wild ride with the paranormal.
No kidding. Wow. So how did you get into the paranormal at first?
Well, I've always been interested in the paranormal, even as a child, but it wasn't until after my father passed away. And I remember the funeral, and you know how when you go to a funeral and everybody tells you, I'm so sorry, he's in a better place, our condolences. And, in my head, I was like, well, how do you know? You see what I'm saying? How do you know he's in a better place? And they just, you just have to believe. You just have to have faith. And I've always been very strong-willed, and faith and just believing something just really wasn't enough for me. So I decided that I was going to find out. And I think a lot of people get into the paranormal this way, through a grief that they can't explain, and they want to know more, and they want to make sure that their loved ones are, okay. And so that's how I got into the paranormal 18 years ago, was right after my father passed.
Oh, yeah. I find that I've only come across a couple of people who have never had any paranormal experience whatsoever who became paranormal investigators. There's not very many of those people. It usually stems from growing up in a haunted location, working at a haunted location, or whatever. They've had some kind of an encounter. It's really interesting to me to find out how people first started, because it's just the first step of the long journey.
It really is. It really is, because people don't realize, they watch these shows and they're like, I'm just gonna jump in. And there's a lot of underlying factors that you have to know as a paranormal investigator. It's not just about the equipment and how it works. You've got to know how to elicit a response, or trigger objects are so important, and you've got to know how to use the equipment correctly.
Yeah.
So a lot of these shows, they just leave so much wanting. And then I find a lot of new paranormal investigators that are just, straight out the gate. They have no idea, but they've just spent over $2,000 on some really sweet equipment.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And there's no need for it, in my opinion, when you're first starting out. Just a voice recorder would suffice, or a camera, or even a FLIR, for
Yeah.
thermal imaging. But
Yes.
a lot of people, like you said, they watch the shows and they think that they have to have a lot of expensive equipment. And I have to say, I fell into that category too. When I first started, I used to think, oh, wow, we need to have all this expensive equipment, but you don't
Yes.
really. Build it
Well,
up.
the only one I have 4 Sony cameras that just sit in the garage.
You need to sell those.
Yeah. I don't use them, but I don't want to get rid of them either because they were so hard to find. Like,
Oh, I get you. Yeah.
yeah. So you like maybe one day,
You have to start your own little museum, for lack of a better term. Just have a section on your wall with all the stuff, that you have.
the paranormal equipment.
Yeah.
But I have a DVR. I
Mhm.
have a DVR system. I have all the bullet cams, and I have everything you could think of, and they're all sitting in my shed. And I think I used them maybe a handful of times. Because I don't do private hunts anymore. I do a lot of events, and I do a lot of teaching now, and so I don't go out, and I really miss just investigating, like just going out and just doing my thing. That was fun. And so I think more this year I'm going to do some more private hunts where I can, just investigate and
Good.
not have to think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because in my opinion, with somebody just, uh, you lose the joy of the investigating.
You
Yes, we
really
want to help people, but there's also we enjoy doing this.
Yeah, yeah. And it is for a love. There is a passion. There is a passion that you develop with the paranormal. But and I see a lot of it after the passion is like fizzled out. I see a lot of paranormal investigators who just they quit. They just stop. It's not any fun for them anymore. And that breaks my heart because there's just still so much to learn
Yeah.
and so much to be learned, and once that passion's fizzled out, it's like going to school. You're done going to school.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. And it's funny you say about, people who've had paranormal experiences before they became paranormal investigators. And as a child, I was always very interested in the paranormal. But I recently saw something I was watching something on Amazon, and it triggered a memory that I had when I was a kid, and it was the documentary about the Hat Man. Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
Okay,
Oh,
so as a kid, I was very fearful. I used to like put all my dolls in the closet and shut the closet door because they scared me at night. So, and one night I was sleeping, and I woke up and I saw a man standing at the end of my bed. And it was just all black mass. It was just, that's all it was. And I took off running. And the next day, my dad came in and he checked the room and he laid in bed with me until I went to sleep. And then the next day, I woke up and I had a broken bone in my foot. Just,
wow.
yeah, weird. And so I had to have a cast, and yeah, I had a broken bone in my foot and I could not function and I was a gymnast.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, but it wasn't from gymnastics. I was fine the night before.
Hmm.
So it was just, that was one of the only paranormal, but I remember that week being very, very jittery. Like I couldn't even have my bedroom door closed. Like I felt like, something was there and I couldn't put my finger on it. And so, yeah. And then I never had an experience after that until after my dad died.
Can you describe what the Hat Man looked like, how tall he was, and any other features that you remember?
Well, I come from a very long line of tall people. And when I say tall people, my dad was 6'4". My younger brother is 6'7". My older brother is 6'5". My mom is 6 foot. Now I'm only 5'6".
So am I.
Yeah, I got the short gene. It's okay. We're cute and compact. It's good. So, but this man was taller than my dad at 6'4". I it wasn't like they were standing side by side, but in my mind as a child, he was taller than my dad. Um, the figure was just he looked like he was wearing a coat, like, but it wasn't like, you know how you see the shadow of a person
Yep.
and you can see the shapes of their clothing?
Yes.
That's what it was like, but he was unbelievably tall. And he, I don't want to say he had a hat on. Like, I don't want to lie to you and be like he had a hat on, because I don't remember a hat. I just remember a jacket and him being unbelievably tall.
Okay.
And so, yeah, but when I was watching the Hat Man videos and all these things were happening to these adults as children, and it just brought back the memory of just, wow, you get that memory back and you go, I remember when this happened. I know what they're talking about, but I didn't know it had a name. In fact, I didn't know there was a name for it. I always just thought it was a shadow person. I didn't know there was a specific shadow person in the whole shadow people land
Yeah.
that a lot of people had seen. And it could be more than one. Like, people see shadow people all the time, So in my mind, I remembered this. But then the things about the bad things that happened to them after, that was what really caught my attention, because like I said, the next morning I woke up, I had a broken bone in my foot, and one of the girls, her dog died the next day, like
Aw.
early in the morning. It was just a whole bunch of really unfortunate events that happened following the sighting of this particular shadow person. So yeah, it was crazy to me, to
No,
tell you the truth.
the listeners know that I have a special place in my heart, I guess, or a special interest for the Hat Man, because I saw the shorter version for many years when I was a child. But I never had any bad experiences, and now I've had psychic, good personal friends tell me that, yeah, he was a guardian for you. But first time I had heard about that, I was listening, because I never told anybody about it, Well, I did when I was a kid, but when I was listening to Paratruth Radio with Justin Cancelleri and his cousin Eric, they did a segment on the Hat Man, and I messaged them afterwards and told them about my encounter, but mine was shorter, sent me a video of somebody who reenacted when they saw the shorter Hat Man. And I was, for a split second, I felt these emotions come back of terror, just because that was exactly what I saw as a child.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah, yeah.
thought other people have seen it too. So that's why I have such an interest in when people tell me that, not only if it's a Hat Man, but just shadow people in general.
Yes. Yes. And a lot of people automatically assume that shadow people are bad. It's a bad omen, but I don't think so. I really think that a shadow person is just a spirit who does not have enough energy to manifest fully.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're not all, I think in my head, ghosts are like people. If you're an asshole in life, you're going to be like that in death.
Yeah.
And I think that shadow people are like that as well. It's just it's logic, so you don't automatically get angel wings after you die. And then, you just say you served your time, good on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I figure that not all shadow people are bad. I figure some of them are mischievous. Some of them are really kind and guardian-like. Some of them are very malevolent. And, it's just like they were when they were in life.
Do you feel that, because there's so many types of shadow people, you've got the tall hat men, you have the short ones, you have some who don't wear hats, they're just considered shadow people, that classification.
Yes.
Do you feel that they're all the same classification, all from the same place, or do you think the different shapes and sizes are just different entities?
I honestly, when thinking about shadow people, I think about plastic wrap. And this is going to sound very weird to you, but let me explain, okay? So I believe that the veil in some places, the veil between the living and the dead is very thin, right?
Mhm.
And I feel like the shadow people are pressing against the plastic wrap. So you see the form of them, but you don't actually get the features and the details of them. All right. So they don't have the energy to push through to the other to the living world through the veil, which is like, I believe in multidimensional beings, but I don't think that shadow people are multidimensional beings. I'm more apt to say Bigfoot is a multidimensional being than I am a shadow person.
Okay, interesting. I always find it fascinating on people's thoughts and descriptions of various entities. And some people said that with the shadow people, they actually see facial features like red eyes and fangs or whatever. Mine didn't not have that. It was just black. I couldn't, it was just a shadow. I couldn't.
Yeah.
So it just makes me wonder if those are different entities to the ones that you and I have seen. I don't know.
I would think so. That sounds more demonic. Now, mind you, how do I put this? It's very rarely a demon. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people, especially people who deal in demons, know that whenever there's a haunting or something bad that's happening, it's very rarely a demon. And in the 18 years that I've been doing this, I've only ran into 2 demonic cases.
Wow.
2 in 18 years. So while they're out there, they're not as prevalent as people would like to think. Like the fact that Zach Baggins sees a demonic portal in every show, that's impressive.
Yeah. Apparently, from people that I know who know him, they say he is legit, but he's told what to do for ratings,
Yes.
and that breaks
Yeah.
my heart.
It does. It really does.
But they do
Because
have a business. They're in the business of entertainment, so they do have to make it thrilling for everyone.
right. And that's the bottom line right now. The bottom line right now is money. It's not about, proof. It's not about the truth out there. The problem is that people run in thinking that it is a specific way. And when they think that it's a specific way, they really do get disheartened when it's not what they expected, like on TV. A lot of people don't realize that some of those shows are filmed over days and you only get 45 minutes of it.
Yep.
So, the most happening of what happened over a week's time. And so they go into a haunted location and they're there for an hour and they're like, what the hell?
These shows have so much and I get nothing.
Yeah. I'm just not good at this.
Yeah. This is bullshit, pardon my French.
Yeah. It's kind of like near-death experiences. Like, they're different for everybody. Like, I want to say that, a lot of people, and they're like, and there was a long tunnel with a bright light. And I go, okay, that's not what I experienced. But it's always different for everybody. So what I experienced was tie-dye skies and polar bears. Did not see my
Really?
body. Yes.
That's interesting.
It was tie-dye skies. It was oranges and pinks and yellows and reds. And then there were polar bears all around me, just everywhere. And so like that's what I experienced when I came out, when I woke up 2 days later. That was burned into my memory. So, but other people are like, well, I had, the long tunnel, or I was floating over my body and I saw what they were doing in the room, and but everybody's different. And so, it's the same with shadow people. People will try to matrix and put a face where there's no face. So, you know, is it in their head? Possibly, but you can't say because you're not in their head. So if they
Exactly.
did see like the long fangs and the red eyes, it could have been the mind just matrixing, but at the same time, you can't prove them yay or nay. So you have to take it with a grain of salt sometimes.
Yes. Well, I like the way you explain that because when it comes to the paranormal, our minds always try to rationalize what we just experienced and try to make it not so scary so we can cope with what we just experienced. So that could possibly be what's happening as well. Not to say every instant is like that, but that could be an explanation.
Right. But I don't see how red eyes and fangs would be okay. You know,
No, no, no.
and you know what, but at the same time, that's what we do. We try to make logic out of what we're seeing so that we can prove either paranormal or not. You're constantly trying to debunk something that's happening to try to prove the paranormal, right?
Yep.
But if you don't try to debunk it first, then all you're doing is feeding the paranoia of the paranormal.
Yeah. Oh, well said.
So, yeah, I'm a little smart.
And not just SMRT smart.
That's right. But yeah. So, but I love the paranormal. I love the people, especially the people, because everybody that you come in contact with in the paranormal has a story.
I was just
Like,
thinking those words. Yeah.
yeah, they have a story. There's something crazy off the wall that happened to them that they can't explain, and they are looking for answers. Aside from the people who saw, a show on TV and was like, I can do that. But
Yeah.
you come in contact with people and they want answers. They truly want to know what's going on afterwards. And I think a lot of it is a silent, morbid fascination, the proof that there's something after us, looking for what happens after death so you don't fear death as much, and so a lot of times, these people come in contact, especially with me, and I'm just like, you guys are awesome. Like the people are awesome. And, you build a relationship with people in the paranormal, like you build a relationship with somebody who's in the military,
Yep.
those lifelong friendships that you build with somebody in the military, you do that too with the paranormal. And so I really love the paranormal, community. So yeah,
Yeah.
I like what it.
So do I. I find over the past several few years, though, there's not as much drama in the paranormal community. Yes, there still is a lot of drama and a lot of hatred and negativity, but I find the majority of people are now pulling together and saying, no, we're not going to put up with your BS. We're going to come together as a community and discuss our experiences, discuss our evidence that we collected, and it's like, hey, what do you think this could be? And I'm finding there's so many more great people like yourself that are in my circle now. It's like a sisterhood, a brotherhood. It's really amazing now.
Because people are waking up and they're realizing that the show is not there. Whether you get a show or you don't get a show, the show is not there. And so when you take out the money aspect, the possibility for money, and you look at people and you go, okay, this is what I got and this is how I got it. You know, this worked for me. What works for you? And when you start coming together as a community to figure it out so that the paranormal is not such a pseudoscience and becomes a science, then you really have the opportunity to make something very great. Now, the people who are stuck on getting the show, those are the people that get shunned faster than anybody else because the show is not there. The show will never be there. And even if you get the show, it'll be canceled in one season, tops.
Yeah.
So you really got to think realistically and think about how can we prove ourselves not the weirdos that everybody thinks that we are? Because,
Oh, I'm weird. I'm weird.
Yeah, I'm super weird.
I've embraced it a long time ago.
Yeah. I like being weird, but when I speak to you and I have facts and proof and evidence to back it up, then you realize that not only am I weird, but I'm kind of intelligent too.
Yep.
And I can only give thanks to the people that I've met through the paranormal community to help me get there, to know what I'm talking about when I'm speaking, because, you cannot learn everything from a TV show. You cannot learn everything from a podcast. You can't, you have to go out and do it and practice and learn and teach, and so, yeah.
It's kind of like if you're doing research on a certain subject, you don't go to the library, for example, and get one book and you know it all. You have to branch out and talk to people or read other books, look at videos. There's a lot of work involved.
It is a ton of work and years, like I said, 18 years of knowledge that I couldn't get with just, walking out into a haunted building and sitting in the dark with an audio recorder, because you have to know the logistics of things. You have to know the history of things. You have to know how to research. There's just so much that goes into being a paranormal investigator. And most people don't take into account it's not all about playing in the dark.
No.
Although it's fun. It's super fun.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, you don't have to just, like I've said this countless times on the show, you don't just need to investigate at the dark. It depends when the activity is. If the activity happens mainly in the daytime, well, it doesn't make sense to go in the evening because you have all this equipment, and the things light up and, you go when the activity is actually happening.
Right. I actually have had people ask me, well, why do ghosts only come out at night? And you go, no, ghosts don't only come out at night. Ghosts are around you all the time.
Yep.
But the reason why we investigate at night is because that's when everything's settled down, when you get less interference and you get less, background noise and stuff like that. That's why we investigate. Light infraction and stuff like that is very hard to debunk when you're recording something during the day. Unless you're Joe Damari. So have you heard of Joe Damari?
No.
Joe Damari created an app that is called the Ghost. I forget what it's called. But anyway, so he uses his app uses the fractals because the fractals of light, and he can actually use this app during the day. And it shows the bending of the fractals of light around where a spirit might actually be.
Wow.
Yes. And then he uploaded a whole English dictionary to this app. So not only is it an app, but it's an obelisk at the same time. So not only are you filming this, the light bending around an object that you can't see with the naked eye, but you're getting like sentences, and it's very, very cool. and I
That's
forget what
amazing.
it's called. Yeah, it's a very cool little app.
I'm looking up his, is it like Marie type thing? Demarie? Do you
yes,
know?
or
Okay.
I think the last one is an I.
Okay.
The last letter is an I. Joe Damari.
No, I'm not seeing anything coming up, but I'll look into that after.
He actually used to, you remember when the Tennessee Wraith Chasers used to have their show called Ghost Asylum, where they used to
Yeah.
build the traps?
Oh, yeah.
He actually worked on set to help them build the traps. They were his ideas on, ghost traps and stuff like that. He used to
Yeah.
do that with them. And that's where he came up with the idea. And he worked with a lot of people, a lot of students from MIT to come up with the different functionalities of this particular app.
So it's an
So
actual,
yeah,
like a phone app?
you can put it on your phone. He actually provides, when you order the app, you can order it on your phone for Android and Apple.
Okay.
But he actually, you can actually request a tablet, and he uses a tablet, and then he's got he's got it set up where you can point the camera, and he does all kinds of like ITC experiments with it, like smoke and water and all kinds of stuff. He really goes into it.
I really have
So
to look
yeah,
that up. That really intrigues me.
yeah, it's a very cool app. And so yeah, and he made it so that we could actually use this app during the day. So we did not have to wait until the sun went down to be able to, hunt for spirits.
Not as
So
much
yeah,
fun, but
I know. There was something about walking through an old decrepit building with a flashlight
yeah.
and,
Yeah.
you know, and not knowing what's around that corner. It just really is a fantastic feeling. But yeah, but just so you know, if you're afraid of the dark, Joe Damari's got you.
Yeah. Definitely have to look that up. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Can for a minute, could we get back to your near-death experience? And this really intrigues me because, like you said, everybody says they see a bright light, but not you. Where do you think you went? What do you think happened?
Well, the story, I gave birth to one of my best friend's sons for her. And at 26 weeks, I had to have an emergency C-section, and I bled to death. For 2.5 minutes, I was clinically dead. In that 2.5 minutes, I was in tie-dye. There were just tie-dye skies. There were rolling hills. There were polar bears. There was music. I can't tell you what music, but it was just it was very peaceful, and I wanted to stay there. And it was just like I could walk around. I was walking around. In my mind, I was there for a long time, like a long time. But in all actuality, it was only 2.5 minutes that I was gone. So it was, like I said, tie-dye skies, polar bears, rolling hills, light music. It was just a really, really, I could stay there forever. And so when I think about it, the different near-death experiences and stuff like that, I want to say that me being me, I'm a very whimsical person. Like, very creative, just up for anything, I'm that person, right? So I think I created my own heaven. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
I
Yeah.
think that people's heavens are different than other people's heavens. Like, heaven is where you were the happiest. Not that I've ever been anywhere where there were tie-dye skies and polar bears and rolling hills. It's just, but me being me, that's where I would end up because I'm just that person. But like for somebody else who's very religious, their idea of heaven is more like, the fluffy clouds and the bright light and the feeling of peace and happiness. when my dad passed, I always imagined him in the fields of Texas running through barefoot, because he said that's where he was the happiest when he was a kid, running through the fields of Texas, just doing whatever he did to have fun. So I think that heaven is different. Near-death experiences are all different. Like, you get a glimpse of where you're headed. You know, I could go back to tie-dye skies and polar bears, and that would be okay with me. It sounds hilarious. It really does. And when I tell people, they're just like, all right. But then I watched on Netflix, they've got a new show, and this lady was actually clinically dead for 30 minutes. She had drowned on a kayak. And then my husband and I were sitting there, and we're listening to her experience. And she says, so it was tie-dye skies, and I was floating up away from the earth. And I looked at my husband, and he looked at me, and he was like, I was like, yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, she experienced it just like I did. And minus the polar bears, there were no polar bears in her afterlife. I don't even know why there were polar bears in my afterlife.
Were they holding bottles of Coke?
There was no Coke.
Ah.
No Coke. But yeah, she explained it the same. It was tie-dye skies. And she said that in her experience, she actually could look back down on the earth and see everything that was happening, like, all at once. Her explanation was, she just knew things and knew how things were going to go. And as soon as she went back into her body, she forgot them. But she knew that she knew them. For me, it wasn't, I didn't like look down on earth and be like, yep, there I am. No, I was just in wonder of what was all around me, that looking back it just wasn't in my head to do.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that near-death experiences are all different. They're not exactly what you expect them to be, but I believe that they are where you were the happiest in your life. And that will be your heaven for all eternity, if you believe in, life after death like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's the first time I've ever heard of, because you always hear of everyone's personal hell, but also now there's a personal heaven, and I've never really heard a whole lot about that, and I like that.
Well, if you think about it, if somebody has a personal hell, like they were bad enough that they've got a personal hell,
yeah,
there has to be the opposite of the spectrum, because, Christianity is all about opposites, good and evil, good and bad, yin and yang. It's all about
the balance,
the polar opposites, and having balance. So if you have a personal hell, you have to have a personal heaven too. So yeah.
Are you a good artist? Are you able to maybe put down these images, sketch them perhaps?
Nope. I deal in words.
Yeah. It would be interesting if you could find someone who could, how whenever there's a crime scene and you have to describe to somebody what the person looked like and they sketch it out, if you could find somebody like that, maybe you could come up with a book of images of your near-death experience.
My heaven looks like. That would be awesome, actually. If I could come up with, if you guys are listening, somebody wants to draw my personal heaven, call me.
Yeah.
So,
Because I think I'd be willing to look at a book like that, to look at the images, because now I could be totally out to lunch, but I think if an individual were to look at a book like that, it might even trigger some memories of experiences or places that other people have been. And they're like, hey, I'd never remembered this until now.
Exactly. Kind of like the Hat Man documentary for me.
Yeah.
And it was so surreal for me to wake up in the hospital after and look around, and it was very crushing almost.
It's like, oh, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, the colors were so vibrant and the colors were so beautiful and everything. It wasn't cold. It wasn't hot. Everything was just so great. And then you wake up in a hospital room and nothing you see will ever be that vibrant, that crystal clear, that beautiful ever again. And you come to terms with, wow, and then you look for those things throughout the world. So people go, well, you've got a second chance. And I go, well, I don't look at it as a second chance. Now I look at it as borrowed time. I'm on borrowed time. And you know what I'm going to do with it? Whatever the hell I want until it runs out. If I don't want to be a quote unquote professional, I'm going to be a professional. I'm going to do what I want to do, how I want to do it until my time runs out.
Yep.
And I think I should have been living that way before everything went downhill, before I died, before my heart stopped, because I think that I'm happier now than I was before. Because before I died, I was going to school to be a medical administrator. I was going to sit in a cubicle among cubicles in a city full of cubicles and talk on the phone and work on a computer. And that was going to be my life.
That's our own personal hell.
Yes. And that really would have just sucked the life right out of me. And I believe people should live like this from the start, from the day they are born, because I'm telling you, I'm happy. I'm so happy. I love myself. I love my life. I love my kids. I love my husband. We make it work. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Happiness at every turn. And yes, do I get depressed? Yes, I do. Do I get sad? Yes, I do. But do I let myself? Yeah. But do I let myself stay there? No, not at all.
Good.
Not at all. I let that shit go as fast as I can because it's soul sucking. So yeah, that was my near-death experience.
That's wow. But I have to say, I've heard that from a lot of people with near-death experiences, that when they come back, unless they've gone someplace not so pleasant, which I haven't heard too many encounters of that happening, but it does happen. But everyone who's had good experiences, they're disappointed in a way that they've come back. It's like, wow, I was in the perfect place, and now I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing's as clear. Nothing is as just, you just want to float away, and you just can't. And you look around, and even the greenest grass is just not as green, or the color red is just not as fire, and it's just, it really is like we're living in a muted sense than where we can be. So, but do I want to kill myself to go back? No.
Good.
No.
Maybe that's why that's good.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why so many people are coming out now and saying that we are in the Matrix, that this is not the real world. So maybe you got out of the Matrix, saw what was the real world was, because if you have a copy of a copy type thing, then
it's all muted.
Yes, exactly. So who knows? Maybe these people are onto something. We don't know.
It's living ones and O's in binary land.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves in Matrix.
He's hot.
I can't
he
help
is.
It.
That man is sexy.
Yeah, I have to agree. He's come a long way since Wayne's World.
Yes, he has.
Yes.
Bill and Ted.
Yes.
Bill and Ted.
Oh, right. Bill and Ted. Yeah. Wayne's World was Mike Myers.
And Dana Carvey.
Yes.
I used to love Dana Carvey. He was just so goofy.
I know.
Made him cute.
Wait, he's Canadian too, isn't he? Mike Myers is Canadian. Is Dana Carvey Canadian?
I don't know. I know Mike Myers is, but I don't know about Dana Carvey.
Yeah, I have to look that up after. But yeah.
We might have to.
Yeah. I always get those two mixed up, Bill and Ted and Wayne's World.
Yes, because they were both very, very funny, very ignorant shows, but they were just worth the hour and a half.
Yeah.
Wayne's World stoked my love of Queen.
Oh,
And
really? Yeah. That's
and
awesome.
then um Bill and Ted stoked my love of Warrant. Every rose has
Ah,
its thorn.
yes. Love that song.
Yes. So, I mean, they all have their good parts.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
So,
yeah.
when you do you have a favorite piece of equipment when you go do an investigation?
My favorite piece of equipment when I go do an investigation, honestly, is I'm very here and now. I don't like to wait. So I really like the Spirit Box or the Spiritus app.
Mhm.
Um, the reason why is because then I can hear it in real time. And then I don't have to rewind my audio recorder. I do that anyway. I'm gonna do that anyway, but I like to know what I've got before I've got it.
You're
So
so
yeah,
impatient. I bet you peeked at your Christmas presents too.
I really did. In fact, my husband knows how impatient I am, that my birthday's not for 2 weeks and he already gave me my birthday present.
That's funny.
So I'm like, okay. But yeah, I like to know what I've got in the here and now, and I am impatient. So I like the Spirit Box or the Spiritus app, anything that I can use in the here and now and hear the responses as I go. But I do like to do experiments. So I like to use like the Estes experiment,
Yep.
and I like to do the human pendulum, and those are always really fun for me.
Sorry, I'll edit this out. I just heard someone come in. Oh, hey, honey. Oh.
So,
All of a sudden, the curtain moved, and I felt cold breeze, and it's like someone came in.
yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.
I saw him walk to the other side of the bed, and then, yeah.
It's funny.
So, yeah, I'm very impatient when it comes to, because I I enjoy the hunt or the investigation. I like people to get involved. I like my investigations to be very animated. Um, People who have the recorder and they just want to sit in the dark and ask questions, that's cool if it works for you. But at the same time, while you're asking those questions and you just spent 3 hours in a spot where you got zero response.
Yeah.
So I like to do experiments. ITC experiments are really cool. Like I said, the Estes experiment, the human pendulum is very fun for me. And then I use the Spiritus app and the Ghost Box.
Can you explain to the listeners what some of these experiments are in case they haven't heard of it?
Okay, so the Estes experiment is an experiment that cuts out the middleman. So you know how when you use the Spirit Box or the Spiritus app, and everybody hears something different. So what you do is you take one person and you put them in a room by themselves. And you've probably seen this on uh, Kindred Spirits, where they put Amy in a room by herself with headphones and a spirit app or a spirit box. And all she's doing is calling out the words that she can make out. In another room, there's somebody else asking questions. And inadvertently, the person in the room by themselves with the headphones are answering the questions that the person is asking in the other room. So it cuts out the middleman of having a whole bunch of people thinking that they said Paul, ball, stall.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And then the human pendulum is something that a lot of like pagan practitioners use. It's a gem or something on a long chain, and it ticks a different way for a different answer, and it's usually yes or no questions. So what I do is I take 5 people and I put one person in the middle, and then I put 4 people around them, and then I ask the spirit to use the person in the middle as a pendulum to move them back or forth, side to side, to tell me the yes or no, the answers to yes or no questions that we're asking. And so that's always really fun, especially when the person in the middle doesn't believe it's going to happen and then it happens. And the look in their face is always priceless. Always priceless.
That's not a method I've ever tried. I've heard of it, but I've never tried it.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool when it almost feels like there's a string running inside you, down the middle of you, and you're on the string being pulled back or forth or side to side. It's kind of like your body is moving along this string. It's kind of cool.
It sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's the human pendulum experiment.
I wanted to mention about the voice recorders. What I do is the voice recorder that I have, I plug earbuds into them so I can hear at the same time. So instead of plus I listen to it later on, but
Yes.
I have actually heard responses then and there. And I'm just like, yes, if I didn't have the earbuds plugged in, I would have only picked it up later on when I listened to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the headphone with the earbuds.
Yeah.
Not only can you hear in real time, but you also can hear somebody walking down the hall or up above you,
Yep.
footsteps, any kind of things, anomalies, as I like to call them. It's the ones that just sit with the recorder, no earphones, no nothing, just in the room with the recorder, and that's all they do. And I'm like, I'm bored.
Yeah. Yeah. I would be afraid to doze off.
Yeah. I'm like so bored. What are we doing? This is what we're doing?
Yeah. Oh, hang on, Joy. I just had a knock at the door. Yes. Oh my God, I'm going to put on air at my door.
Yeah.
Yes, honey.
Before you go to bed, do you mind making me a Sammy for tomorrow? I forgot how late it was.
A sandwich?
Yeah, I didn't make one because I forgot.
Yes, I will. 2 of them?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Alright, there's a red container there.
Okay.
So,
Can
is Dad in bed?
No, he grabbed some socks and left. I don't know. Did he go for a walk?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
Alright.
Okay. Night, lovey. My son.
Love it.
Thank God for editing. Oh, well. At least I'm up. Go ahead.
With you?
Do I what?
Do you have a phone with you? Because that's what I told my family. I'm like, when I'm filming, just text me.
Yeah, it's behind me on the bed, because if I put it on the desk, it'll go and then I can hear it on the audio.
Everything, yes.
But actually, I can edit that part out now because,
You know how?
yes, because I have 2 tracks. I have what I'm saying and what you're saying.
Yeah.
And because I clear my throat a lot and I sniff because I'm always congested and whatnot, I can take that out while you're still talking.
Yeah.
Or, so I can do that now. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay. Hang on.
So, all right, where are we?
Hang on. What the heck happened now? Am I still recording? Okay, we are. Yes.
Awesome.
Okay. I think we just finished talking about the earbuds in real time and how boring it was if people don't have the earbuds.
Yes.
Oh, cheapers.
Yes. So that's what I do. I live a very whimsical life. I am a paranormal investigator. I work in a liquor store, and
Okay, now it's recording. I don't know. So it said that you're very whimsical. You work in a liquor store. Just take it away from there.
okay. And I write books.
And you write books, yes.
I write books. So yeah, my last 2 novels I wrote while I was working at a liquor store. And I love my job. Like, I get paid twice. Like,
This is amazing. How can I find a job like that?
I know, right?
where I can get paid and maybe do my podcast at the same time.
Right? Right? I actually got stuck doing a podcast while I was at work one night. And no lie, I was doing the podcast, ringing people up and yeah, greeting them, being like, "Hey, thanks for coming by," and then going back to the podcast.
Was it
Like,
live?
it was live.
Oh my, that's funny. Wow.
It was awesome. It was one of the, and then after that, I decided I was not going to do that anymore because that is just a lot.
Well, yeah, too much multitasking.
That's a lot of multitasking.
Yeah. So yeah, your book. I absolutely love your book, and you're going to have a wonderful narrator.
I've got the best narrator. My narrator is so much fun. So yeah, I've written 3. And the one that you and I are working on right now is called Integrity.
I love the book, which really helps because I'm really glad that I enjoyed the book because I have to narrate it, and I just want to shoot myself in the foot or something if the book was like, I really don't like this. But no, it was really, really good, and I got into the characters while reading it.
Oh my God. So you guys don't know, but she did the first chapter for me recently. And I was listening to it today, and she was like adding giggles where they needed to go. And it really just brought all of my characters to life. And I loved every second of it. It was just so much fun to listen to. And I was so engrossed in listening to it that I forgot I wrote the damn thing.
That's funny. Well, I'm glad. It means I'm doing my job.
You are doing your job well. Well.
Thank you.
My favorite is, I don't know if you guys know, but Kat is Canadian. So my favorite thing is when she reads the word about. And I heard it the first time and I was like, I am so just going to leave that way. Like, because she says, she doesn't say about, she says a boot.
I think I say about. Did I just not say it the way you said it? I said a boot? Oh my God. Now, to me, when I say about, I said it the way you said it. That's funny.
And I was just like, this is awesome. These are one of those quirks that you find in a narrated book. And I was like, I'm leaving it. That is just awesome. And so, yeah, I left it. I did not.
This is awesome.
This is amazing. So yeah, we're working on that one. And if you haven't read Integrity, if you haven't read Integrity, then you haven't read Trepidation or Perseverance yet. And I'm very disappointed in you. And but they're about, magic and gargoyles and, there's sex. And I am actually busting to hear Kat read the sex scene.
Yes, because when I messaged you going, I don't know, when did I become a prude?
The first time she read it, she blushed.
I did. True story. Now, the great thing about knowing the author when you're reading a book, you can text the author and say, oh my God, I can't believe this happened, or whatever, and it's like, yeah, JB, the sex scenes. And all I keep thinking is, my father might be listening to this book because his daughter's narrating it. And it's like, yeah, when I message you and I'm like, when did I become a prude?
The picture of her cheeks just flaming up is amazing to me. And I laughed for about 10 minutes about that.
I'm glad I brought joy to you. Oh, I'm tearing up right now. I'm laughing.
So, yeah, I didn't warn, and I get this a lot, actually. A lot of people.
Yeah, there was no warning.
Yeah, and they tell me all the time. They were like, you could have given me a heads up about the sex scene. And I'm like, well, what fun is that?
Yeah, yeah. I have to agree. I can see where you're coming from. But
because, I listen to Kat. I listen to her podcasts. We talk often. And like in the first chapter, I think there's 3 curse words in the whole chapter.
Something like
And
that, yeah.
listening to her say the curse words, I don't know why I feel vilified every time she says it. And every time she's like, holy hell. And I'm like, yes.
Now, I do cuss, so that doesn't really, but yeah, the sex scene, yeah, I'm a prude now. I have no idea when that happened, but
It's just a really, really great collaboration that we have going on.
yeah.
And we talk and, we go through, and Kat helps, with her voice is just so wholesome and pure and rich. And it's just a really great fit for the book. And then when we go through and we read the characters' lines, oh my God, it all comes together. It's just so wonderful.
Well, you've said often that this was meant to be, because
Yes.
the way that I envision the characters when I'm reading them, you're like, exactly. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yes.
don't really have to work much.
No, it's not hard at all.
Well, that just tells me you're a great author, because I'm able to pick up on how you want to perceive the characters, and I picked up on it.
Right. Thank you. I feel like I told you before, Integrity has a bunch of characters that somebody knows.
Yeah.
Like, you can drop any one of your friends or family into these character positions and be like, oh, that's perfect fit. I know who she's talking about. She's talking about Stacy, or she's talking about Dylan, or, there's
Yeah.
these are people that you run into in your everyday life. And so I really wanted for people to be able to identify with these characters. And when I hear you reading them, I see that I hit the mark with that. And it really makes me happy that it came across the way it's supposed to come across.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yes, it really is a good book. Like, I had you going though one day and you said, "Did you like the book?" I'm like, "No, I didn't like the book." And I hit send and I waited and I'm like, "I love the book." And you're like, "Oh, you had me scared there for a minute."
She did. I was like, and I'm sitting there looking at her, I love the book. And I was like, that was mean.
That's for making me read the sex scenes.
She's like, ah.
Oh.
But I think Kat's going to provide you guys with links in case you want to check them out before they come
I
out
will.
audio.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Well, right now it's the paperback or hardcover. I'm not sure. I will provide links to where people can find your book to read. And as soon as the audiobooks come out, of course, I'll be letting everybody know.
Oh yeah, we'll yell it from the mountain.
Yeah.
Everybody will know.
Yep.
It's been a really fun process, because not only am I the writer, so I know what's going on, but I get to watch Kat set up her soundproof room. And, you guys saw pictures on Facebook, if you have her on Facebook and Instagram, where she set up her new filming room and everything. Well, I get to watch that. Like,
Yeah.
I get to hear about it. So it was just a really fun process for me, because I never knew how much went into, reading a book out loud.
Neither did I.
And I remember that day that you were like, I just did a casting call for a voice reader. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm a voice reader. And
Yeah.
it's funny, earlier that day, I had been talking to one of my customers about the fact that he travels so much, so he doesn't have time to read. And he asked me if I was going to put it on audiobook. And I was like, well, I was going to put it on audiobook, but I don't know how.
Yep.
And then I saw Kat's post and I was like, now I do.
Yeah, and it's funny because I've known you for a couple of years now. I didn't even know you wrote books.
Thanks, Kat.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm not Canadian, sorry.
Sorry. But It's funny because I get a lot of people who say that just to look at me, they're shocked that I write novels. They're just like, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know what a novelist should look like. Like,
Yeah.
what should a novelist look like?
To me, that's a strange statement.
Yeah, should I like have my hair up in like a bun,
Glasses at the end of your nose, and
like yeah, freaking an A straight skirt? Like, should I look like a librarian? Like,
right?
because I don't know if you know, but I don't look like a librarian.
No.
But yeah, so I'm not sure what that means, but they do act shocked. Like, a lot of people want to write books, but there's a small percentage of people who actually like even published their first book. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And a smaller percentage actually goes on to write a series. And so just, to get it out there and to put your thoughts, it's a very daunting task. It's a very, you want to look at the book and go, this is stupid. Nobody's going to read it. Nobody wants to read this. This is dumb. But a lot of people react like you do. They really love the book, and it really does help me to spur myself on to write more and to get more out there. But at the time when I was publishing Integrity was brought on after the whole Zion thing, after Zion was born. And, like I said, I was going to college to be a medical administrator, and I dropped out of college to write novels.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then you go, okay. So then they're like, well, once you've got the book written, now you've got to query yourself. Now, querying yourself is basically like you write a letter talking about yourself and your book, and you send it out to a bunch of agents, because you can't just send it to the publishing houses, because publishing houses don't take unsolicited novels.
I did not know that.
Yes. So you have to get an agent. So you send your query letter out to agents across the way, and they very nicely tell you, no, this is not what we're looking for. We're looking for something different. This is not a good fit for us, whatever. And all I can say is thank God for Amazon, because I just could not listen to one more person tell me no. I really could not listen to one more person say, no, you're just not, it's not going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
And it really does kill me because, one, I don't like to write about myself. And, and you're supposed to write about yourself and blow your horn and tell them how fantastic you are. And I was like, no, I just can't. So my query letters suck. That's the long and short of it, is my query letters were not good. So I self-published through Amazon, and Amazon made it so that my book was available worldwide. So I've got people in the UK who have read my books. Yeah, I've got people my book is available for sale in Dubai, England, Scotland, Italy, Australia, Peru.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah. So I go, okay, thank you, Amazon, because without them, my book would still be in my computer collecting dust.
And I wouldn't be narrating it.
That's right. That's right. We need your kickoff, your flagship book, damn it.
Yes.
But it is just truly amazing how easily you and I fell into, doing this together. Like, I always knew I liked you, what little interaction we had throughout Facebook, but this has just cemented like our friendship, because we work really well together.
We do, yes.
So yeah, I really enjoy this. This has been a super easy process, and I like it.
Me too. I have to thank Katie Turner for introducing us.
Yes, Katie, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Richard, of course. Katie and Richard.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. Thanks, Richard. And then, and we've got to thank Brian. We really got to thank
Brian Anderson. Oh, yes.
Yes. Without
My
you, my
mentor.
man, you have really helped out leaps and bounds. And you know what? You get a gold star because you did great work. Thank you so much.
He's He's probably hit his head on his desk a few times, wondering why is she not getting this? Why? Because he helped me set up my podcast too, and now he's helping me with book narrations. So, because he's been doing it for over 9 years, and he's sharing his knowledge with me, and I really appreciate that.
And see, that's the way it should be. It should be that if you have somebody who's aspiring to do something that you have done for a very long time, then you should share that knowledge. Because if you don't share that knowledge, it can't go past you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's lost with you whenever you're lost. And I think it should be same with the paranormal community, you know.
Yep.
We need to share more and stop trying to hide away like we're doing something super sneaky secret, because it's not.
No.
You know, it's not secret. So yeah, and that's the way it should be. We should be helping each other more, and I feel like the world would be a better place if we did.
Yeah, and I think if we could have just started a long time ago with sharing the knowledge and research on the paranormal, we probably would have a lot more answers to our questions right now, instead of trying to stop other people from sharing their knowledge or speaking their minds on what they got and ridiculing them. I think we would have really found out. We probably would have different equipment by now too.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
But like I said, now that people seem to be working together and listening to each other, and you know, it's nice to hear other people's ideas. You might not agree with them. It doesn't matter. You're sharing your ideas and trying to find out what is behind the paranormal, what's really going on.
Right. And do not, if you don't agree with somebody's theories, do not naysay them. Do not like try to run them through the mud.
Yeah.
If you don't agree, just don't agree. Like, walk away. You do not have to destroy somebody just because you don't agree with what they're saying.
Yep.
And so many times I find that people do that, and it's just not fair.
It's like on social media when someone posts something and somebody doesn't agree. Okay, you don't have to bash that person. Keep scrolling. Just keep scrolling.
Yes, keep scrolling. You did not have to stop there just to try to change somebody's mind. Keep scrolling. And if you see more of my posts and you don't like them, you can always unfriend me.
Yes. Yeah.
You have options than just jumping on my post to try to make me look like a jackass.
Yeah.
There are options.
Because to me, the only person looking like a jackass is the one attacking that person, you know.
Right. Because chances are that person has a bunch of people in their circle who feel the same way they do.
Yeah.
And you get attacked because you decided that you wanted to attack somebody else. And then your feelings are hurt. Now you're a victim.
Yeah. Yes. It's okay to have different opinions.
It is.
It's okay. It really is. And it's okay to be able to discuss your different opinions without getting into a heated conversation.
That is a true statement, because you know what? None of us live in a fishbowl. So to hear a different mind speak out is actually good for the soul. You know, you cannot live in a sounding board where everybody sounds like you.
Yep.
You have to live in a land where other people have different opinions. And that way, at least you try to understand their opinion and try to put across your opinion so that they can understand you. But you don't have to yell at them and attack them the whole time.
No. No.
So, yeah.
When my daughter was in high school, during our political elections, Trudeau was running for the first time here in Canada. And I was so happy to hear my daughter say that there was a lot of people that was her age discussing politics and they didn't like, some people loved Trudeau, other people didn't. But they were having a discussion, and it was not heated. And
Right.
they were still friends, or they still had respect for each other after the conversation, you know.
Yeah.
And I was so happy to hear that. I thought, wow, young people actually having discussions. It really warmed my heart.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Yeah.
You know, I find that it's full-grown adults that are fighting like kids.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't have time in my life to argue with you about this. This is how I feel. I understand how you feel and why you feel that way. Just go your own way. It doesn't have to be a whole life-changing event. So I figure, like, at least here in the United States, if you don't like the president, wait 4 years. We'll have a new one.
It's like, that's what we say about the weather here. You don't like the weather, wait 15 minutes and it'll change.
Right. Just wait. It'll change. It always does.
Yeah.
And then, then you'll have something else to be upset about. But, all this, everything is so politicized and everything is so touchy nowadays, from, political to weather, money, the paranormal community, even book communities are super, super secret. Like, somebody's trying to steal their ideas. But I read an article once, and it said that there's no new ideas. Like,
I've heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything there's no such thing as a new idea anymore. And so then you go, okay, so it's the free thinkers that are coming up with the new stuff, but most of us are not free thinkers. We've got some kind of standard in our heads. And so, it's the Elon Musks of the world, or you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Those are the people who are going to be the new idealists. And it's just super unfortunate that they have billions of dollars to do it.
Right?
You're like, oh, celebrities in space. That's awesome.
I'd like to go to space.
Yes.
I really would.
Can a nobody go to space with the celebrities? I mean, please.
Well, if I recall correctly, I think Elon Musk is trying to make it so the average person can go to space and it won't break the bank.
Yes. So it was him. First, it was Richard Branson.
Yes.
Richard Branson wanted to make space available for everybody.
Yep.
And he just never hit the mark. Like, he was just short. Like, he was so close. And then Elon Musk went in and just swept the board. And so, yeah, they're both trying to make it super affordable for the average Joe to be able to go to space. And I think that is very admirable.
Yep.
Mind you, it doesn't hurt their pockets.
Oh,
but,
no. No. But it's nice to know they're trying to include everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so that makes me happy. Whether they're just saying it to say it or they actually mean it, that's a big deal. You know what I mean? Hold on. Hello, Travis. Hello, Johnny. I am in the middle of a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll see you guys in a minute.
We're almost done anyways.
Yeah. My son has this group of friends, like, that he's been friends with since he was in elementary school.
Aww.
And now he's in college. And so they don't even, like, knock anymore. They just come in. Like,
yeah, they're family. There's
like 8 of them. Like, at any given morning, I could wake up and there'd be like 7 people on the couch asleep. Like, that's my household.
I love that.
Whenever he's home from college, I've always got a house full of people. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I love my kids. My other kid is back in college. I took him back last Thursday for his spring break, and then Johnny's home for this spring break, and then he goes back on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, so then it'll just the four of us. Well, because my mom lives with us.
Yeah.
So,
Your mom's awesome.
and my mom sucks. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not
My
editing
mom-
that. No.
We're
kidding.
going to leave that in there. My mom is actually, when she first moved up here, she's originally from El Paso, Texas. She was born in El Paso, Texas. She was raised in Oregon and then moved back to El Paso, Texas. So she's always loved El Paso.
Mhm.
But when she moved here, she couldn't live by herself anymore. So I had her move in with us. And she was very worried about what she would do. What am I going to do, Pumpkin? You know, I don't have any hobbies, you know, blah, 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 this and that. Now she's a paranormal investigator with me.
I
She goes to
love
all of
that.
my she goes to all of my paranormal
I
events.
didn't know that.
Yeah. For Christmas one year, I bought her own paranormal kit. And yeah, so she's got an audio recorder, a K2 meter.
I
She's got a
love it.
flashlight. So she does the paranormal stuff. She's all about it now. And
That's
if you
cool.
ask her about it, she knows all the lowdown, the lingo, everything. She's just all about it.
That's nice.
So yeah, that's my mom. She's a ghost hunter with me.
I love that.
So yeah, but before she moved here and I told her what I was doing, she was like, whatever. I was the weirdo, but not anymore. She's all about it now.
Weirdo.
Yeah.
Too
I'm
funny.
like, well, you're right. I am the weirdo, but
now you are too.
yeah. So she has a ball. She's going with me to Lynchburg this weekend, so she's
Aw.
super excited. Yeah.
So want to go.
Yeah, it's, I hate that you're so far away. I hate that you're so far away.
I know.
But if we get like to Nashville, then like to visit or whatever, we'll get together and I'll take you on a paranormal hunt.
That would be awesome.
Octagon Hall, or if you want to go to Old South Pittsburgh Hospital or wherever you want to go, we'll go.
I'll go anywheres.
Yeah. And Ronnie D just bought a new hospital.
Really?
Yes, he bought Harriman Hospital, and it's over close to Georgia.
Mhm.
And yeah, they're cleaning it now, and so it should be open for business by January of next year. So
That's very cool.
it's very awesome. It's very awesome. So I'm very excited that he's got this going on.
Nice.
So yeah, he's like saving one hospital at a time.
Love that.
But he's very determined, and he's such a good venue owner, and he's such a good team leader.
Mhm.
He's got his head on right, and he's got no like aspirations of grandeur. He's just a really cool, down to earth type of guy. So yeah, Randy is kind of awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we're just about at the end here, but I just wanted to mention about the Elon Musk and the space explorations and whatnot. I can't wait to find out if there's any paranormal experiences in space.
Ooh, Zero Gravity Paranormal. That's a great name for a show.
Let's do it. Elon,
Yes,
you, me, and JB.
that's right.
Zero Gravity Paranormal.
Gravity Paranormal. I wonder if it's going to go the way of paranormal or aliens.
Or maybe both.
Or maybe both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Find a new type of cryptid out in space, but I guess it wouldn't be a cryptid, it would be an alien.
Yeah, maybe.
So, I mean, that's still super cool. I wonder if I can bring my flat iron on the shuttle.
Maybe. I love that. I've been really wanting to speak with astronauts or even pilots to find out, have you had any paranormal experiences, or is it something that's strictly on Earth that these experiences happen?
Around.
Yeah.
I would be really interested because you hear about ghost ships all the time.
Yep.
And so sailors are very, very superstitious.
Oh, yes.
So that is a very good question, because are there such thing as ghost planes? Ghost flights?
I have heard of ghost flights because sometimes they use parts from other planes that have crashed on other planes. At least they used to. I don't know if they still do. And
Right.
I have heard of people encountering ghosts on aircrafts. I want to
Right.
talk to pilots or even passengers or like anybody from the flight crew, anyone who's been on a plane. If you've had a paranormal encounter while flying, I want to know about it. But especially, I'd like to be able to talk to astronauts. But I think there's something about, I don't think, I was told once by a friend that astronauts, if they do have experiences, are not allowed to talk about it. I don't know if that's true or not.
Do you think they sign NDAs or
I'm
NDRs
thinking
or
whatever.
uh,
Yeah, non-disclosure.
agreements?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they do.
that's, but I wonder how long it lasts for, because
Yeah.
there's because what's his name? Neil Armstrong is still alive, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
Mr.
I wonder,
Armstrong, contact me.
yes,
Anyone who knows him.
yes. Yeah, if you guys know Neil
Call me.
Armstrong, holler.
Yeah. Call me.
We would like to speak with him.
Oh, that would
But
be
yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
that would be so cool. Like, I wonder, because I did hear a story once about a plane at night. A plane was parked at a terminal, and people were boarding the plane, but there was nobody in the terminal. And then the plane was full, and then the next morning the plane was empty.
Wow.
Yeah. And I read about that one, but that was on the ground as well. So I don't know if it had something to do with the plane, or you know what I mean? But I didn't know that they used parts from crash planes in the newer planes, or they used to.
They used to. I don't know if they still do. Um,
Yeah. But
because
still, planes are active for years and years and years.
yeah,
So, that's just, it's a creepy that's why I don't fly. It's just too tragic. I can't do it.
I can't afford to fly. So.
Who can
Yeah.
afford to fly?
No, but it fascinates me because when there's a tragic incident when a plane crashes, I mean, at the very least, there would be residual energies on the plane from all those emotions from the people who perished,
Yeah.
or even if they did survive, there's going to be residual at the very least that's embedded into that aircraft.
It just bled into the metal of that
Yeah,
aircraft.
every
Yeah.
fabric, the seats, the
Yeah.
metal, at least in my opinion.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I agree. That would be fascinating to do research on, actually.
It's something
That
I've been trying to do, and I can't find no one. Like I've tried to find people who are, like I said, flight crew or passengers, whatever, but no one stepped
Right.
forward so far.
Well, guys, we're going to need you guys to put your feelers out. We need astronauts and airline pilots,
Yep.
or just a pilot at all.
Yep.
So if you guys know any, have them reach out to Kat, because I would love to listen to that show. That would be awesome. So yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
That show would be cool. Because that's a building of knowledge right there. Because you always hear how paranormal activity is upped due to the materials that surround it, right?
Mhm.
Limestone, wood, marble, depending on the stones and the materials that a house was built in, or a house was built on, And so I don't see why it would only be on Earth that spirits are seen.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. I'd like to know. Does it go
Mhm.
beyond our planet?
Right. The gravitational pull, I would like to know. Call
Inquiring
us.
minds want to know.
That is great. That is a great question. That's got my, all perked up, like in the back of my head. So, but yeah, I had fun tonight.
I did too.
This was a lot of fun.
We always have a lot of fun when we're talking.
Yes, and we always lose track of time. So if this goes long, sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's over an hour, almost an hour and a half, but that's okay.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Um,
It's just what we do.
Would you like to tell the listeners where they can find you and your books first?
You can find me on Facebook under J B Coates, Instagram under Obsidian Writer, Twitter under at Obsidian_writer. Then you can find my books on Amazon under J B Coates, and the 3 books are called Integrity, Trepidation, and Perseverance. And then look for the new book that's coming out here pretty soon called Fortitude.
Yes. After I'm done narrating the first one, I cannot wait to read the others. Oh, I really am. Oh.
So exciting.
And like I said before, knowing the author too, I text you, I can't believe this happened, or this is so cool, or what? This happened? Are you kidding me?
You're like, but it had to happen.
Yes.
That was great. That was a great text message. But yeah, so you can find me in all those places. Don't be afraid to go ahead and hit the follow, the like, or send me a friend request, and I'll be happy to have you guys around as always. And I'll provide Kat with the links for the books so that you guys can check it out.
Yes, they will be in the show notes as usual.
Yay!
Thank you so much, JB. You take care.
Oh, thank you so much. I love you.
I love you too. Well, we've made it to the end of another episode. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, take care of each other. And if you'd like to be on the show or have questions and comments, just drop me an email, paranormalheart13@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you.
Paranormal Heart would like to extend a special thank you to PurplePlanet.com for supplying the music for the show. The views and opinions expressed on Paranormal Heart are those of the host and participants.